Okay, this is a question about Logan. Logan saves $5.50 in dimes and quarters. He has 20 more dimes than quarters. And then you're to solve how many dimes and how many quarters he has. The way you're going to do this is by making two equations. First, you have to set your variables. This is important because in these two equations, our variables are going to be D stands for number of dimes, and Q stands for the number of quarters. Now, I'm actually going to add two more variables here. We're talking about, or two more definitions. D is the number of dimes, but if you were talking about the value of those dimes, you have to think of what is a dime worth. And a dime is worth 10 cents. And to make that a decimal, I'm going to write 0.10D. This is going to be the value of our dimes. And similarly, the value of the quarters we have is going to be 0.25Q. That's the value of our quarters. So this is all of the background information, and now we're going to use the information they gave us, the information we extrapolated from it, and make two equations. The first sentence they gave us is that Logan saves $5.50 in dimes and quarters. So I'm looking at our equation, or our variables. We have number of dimes and number of quarters, but we also have value. And since we're talking about the value of Logan's dimes and quarters in this first equation, this is value, we're going to use the information down here for this equation. So we have the value of dimes plus the value of quarters, so 0.10D plus 0.25Q is going to equal $5.50. Here is one equation. Then we're going to make another equation based on this second statement from the problem. He has 20 more dimes than quarters. Okay, so this one we're not talking about value. We're talking about the first set of variables that we made. 20 more dimes than quarters. So this means quarters plus 20 equals dimes. The number of quarters plus 20 equals the number of dimes. That's the equation I made based on this second statement. So now we have everything needed to solve the problem. And we're going to solve by substituting, let me get my marker tool. We're going to substitute Q plus 20 in for D. So we're going to basically take our second equation and plug it into our first equation where that D is. So now we have 0.10, but instead of writing D, I'm going to write the quantity Q plus 20. Okay, so that's the D part, plus 0.25 Q equals 550. The whole reason we had to do this substitution is because we cannot solve an equation with two variables. We need only one variable. And so now what we have is a nice long equation with only Q's in it. And that is good for us. So now I'm going to start working this out. If you don't know where to begin, always take a look at those parentheses. And parentheses says to me, distribute. I'm going to distribute my 0.10, 0.10 to the Q and the 20. So 0.10 Q plus 20 times 0.1, and I'm just double checking on my calculator to make sure I don't make a mistake with my place value. This is the whole number 2. 0.10 times 20 is 2. Then I'm going to, so I've done distributing, and I'm just bringing down the rest of that equation. 0.25Q equals 550. Alright? Alright, our goal is to only have Q's over on the left, and so we're going to, next we're going to combine the Q's we have. We have 0.10Q and 0.25Q. If you combine those, you get 0.35Q. Plus 2, but instead of writing that, I'm actually going to go ahead and move this. I'm going to minus 2, and everything you do to the left, you have to do to the right. So I'd already combined the Q's. Now minus 2 from both sides. 550 minus 2. I can do that in my head. I'll give you a sec. Yep, it's 350. So now we have 0.35Q equals $3.50. Like I said, we want to get that Q all by itself. Right now it's being multiplied by 0.35. The way you undo multiplication is by division. So you're going to divide by 0.35 and they'll cancel. But remember, everything you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So then I'm also going to divide $3.50 by 0.35. And I end up with Q equals 10. So this means the number of quarters we have is 10. Hooray! We feel like we're almost done with the problem, but we're really not, because we also need to know how many dimes. In fact, let me go back to the question. They want to know both, I think, or the number of dimes and quarters. So we have the number of quarters. We're going to take it, that value, and plug it into this equation. So now instead of Q, I'm writing 10. 10 plus 20 equals D, which is the number of dimes. So you see 30 equals D. Okay. Thank you for joining me for this problem, and have a good day.